Hello, Internet. Welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us.
For the Utah Jazz, Lauri Markkenan could be on the move. Let's talk about it.
In Major League Baseball, the writers have screwed up again. Let's go ahead and dive into it. All that and more. My name is Darren. This is AJ, and this is the DNA Sports Recap.
Roll the intro.
How's it going, AJ?
I'm doing good, buddy. Real good. Feeling good. How about you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Feeling good. Before we get to the content, let's go ahead and do a pre-show cheers.
Absolutely.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you, my friends.
Also, really quick, folks, before we jump into the content, if this is the type of content that you enjoy, please feel free to subscribe to our channel. We are on the grind to 1,000 subscribers. Just hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it.
We do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of local sports stuff before we get into the meat and potatoes of things, which is the Utah Jazz for the local sports. Let's go ahead and first talk a little bit about the Utes. Now, you are going to be heading out of town here pretty soon to go to the Utes game.
Yes, sir. Very excited. Very excited.
Yeah, the Vegas Bowl is between Utes and Northwestern. We've already dropped our predictions on that, so be sure to check out that video. We'll go ahead and link it down below.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, what are you looking forward to when it comes to that game?
I'm just looking forward to seeing some of probably the younger talent, because we're not going to see all of the players we saw from Utah on the field this time, right?
Right.
Like obviously a lot of people have transferred out or decided to go to the NFL, so we're going to see some of the younger guys for Utah. I do still predict a Utah win, even without some of that talent. Utah is just an overall more talented program. But I'm looking forward to seeing some of the younger guys get on the field and play and, watch some Utah football.
Absolutely. And I agree with you 100% there. I'm predicting it to be a little bit closer than our prediction video. I did say they're going to throw the ball down the field and go balls out and hit the over. I do think they're going to be on the under. I do think they're going to outscore their opponent by at least double, but I do think the Utes come away with a win on that one. Back to the Utes though. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that. We did hear back on the 17th of the month, just like clockwork, whenever we hit the stop button on here, we get some news
every time,
guys. It's, if you guys run a podcast, you know exactly what we're talking about on that.
Yep.
But Nate Johnson, former quarterback of the University of Utah, is transferred to Vanderbilt. What do you think about that?
I think it's super cool, man. It's an SEC school. It's, in Nashville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a super good opportunity for Nate. He's actually going to be competing for a starting job out there.
Yep.
I will be a Vanderbilt fan. Especially if he's a starting quarterback, I will watch some Vanderbilt football.
I will,
no doubt in my mind.
Absolutely. As far as SEC, I'd be very torn on not catching Vanderbilt over Bama. I got some Bama people down in Alabama. So, but yeah, I think that's super awesome. I'm really looking forward to what the Utes pull out of the transfer portal. I know the early intent day, the signing day was kind of like last year. We did get a lot of decent recruits that we're looking forward to, but nothing that really noteworthy.
I would say the biggest one was probably the tight end transfer from UCLA.
Right.
That's a huge pickup. Obviously, the Utes do a ton with their tight ends, and especially having Cam Rising back next year. Hopefully, Brant Keithy, he hasn't actually announced yet, but having some of those weapons, I think he knows Cam's coming back and he's going to be used. So it's going to be a good opportunity for him here.
I think he's got to come back, man. You think that'd be
you would think so, and I don't know what the holdup is because he hasn't announced what he's doing yet.
I think it's mainly just because he wants to make sure he's ready to go, health wise. I think that's really kind of the big thing is he doesn't want to announce. But obviously, you spend a whole year hurt. Your draft prospects are probably junk after that.
And that's kind of what I wonder, because I think he's seriously weighing his opportunity to go to the NFL. Right? He might. I really do. I think that's probably the biggest thing is his agent, or I don't know exactly how it works. Right? Someone looks into the future for these guys and says, how will you be graded as an NFL prospect? I think they've graded him and said, enough teams have seen tape on you. Look at Dalton Kincaid. He was a first-round pick last year.
Yep.
Right. And Brant Keithy was widely regarded as better than Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
So
go Bills.
I think he's got to be weighing his options. I think if he's looking to be a first-round pick in the 2025 draft, he absolutely has to play next year. That's all there is to it.
I agree, man. I agree. The only reason why I think he hasn't announced yet is he's just contemplating whether or not he even wants to play football going forward. I think is really kind of
he has been hurt a lot. Yeah,
I think that's really the key piece there. But I look forward to it. But yeah, so again, folks, drop us a comment down below what you guys want to see out of the Ute game. We're going to make sure this guy's down there having a good time, making sure he's taking some pictures and shooting some video. We'll throw that up on our Instagram. Our Instagram handle will be down below. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter. X, formerly known as Twitter. And we'll make sure we get all that up for you there. So you have some like at the game type stuff there.
Absolutely. We'll get you guys right in tune with that Utah bowl game.
You know what we should do? We should do, what we're going to do is we're going to post some of AJ's content on Instagram and X, and the person that has the best comment, we're going to send them a t-shirt.
Ooh, I love that.
We're going to send a t-shirt.
We'll post on Instagram. Go follow us. If you guys like it, we'll pick one of the best comments, send you a t-shirt.
Just like on our previous prediction videos, best comment will get a t-shirt.
So we got t-shirts for days.
Exactly. Make sure you folks have size is non-negotiable, by the way. It's XL all the way.
XL all day.
But if you guys haven't seen our previous videos, make sure you go take a look at our prediction video. If you drop a comment, the best comment's going to get a t-shirt on us. Yep. We'll DM you, send us your address, we'll send you a t-shirt. So
absolutely.
But yeah, so let's go ahead and pivot from the Utes there. Look forward to that this weekend. So travel safe.
I'm also super excited for it.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and pivot from that and talk a little bit more about Utah sports here. But this is not something that's regular. It's been a while since we've seen this actually. I was actually pre-drinking age, I believe, last time this was here, which is the SLC. Salt Lake City has been named as the preferred candidate for the 2034 Olympic Games.
Dude, this is so cool.
It's super soon, man.
Like, I mean, it's not that far out. We're talking 11 years, right? 34.
Well, what I'm saying is from the last time it happened. It was in 2002.
Yeah.
The Winter Olympics were here last. And that was only 32 years ago. That's for Utah. That's not that long. I honestly thought in 2002, that was the last time I was going to be here in my lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. So to think that it's coming in 11 years though, that's insane.
That's insane.
Because I mean, the last time I remember for the 2002 Olympics that there was a ton of infrastructure changes that Utah had to make to get people to places and out of places. I mean, like the Kearns Oval,
right?
You know what I mean? Right up the road. And, they had to make a ton of infrastructure changes to make sure they could get people up and in and out of there. Yeah. So, I mean, there's going to be a ton of changes coming to Utah infrastructure here in the next 4 or 5 years. And hopefully it's ready for, a big Olympics event. That's, I think Utah is just going to go absolutely crazy.
They're going to crush it, man. They're going to crush it. And us locals here are going to fucking hate it us locals are going to hate it. Make sure I cut that part out.
716.
I'm not going to edit it out. I'm just going to bleep it out.
So, gotcha.
We'll just make sure we throw that in there. But we're all going to hate it because remember last time the Olympics were here, there was a lot of construction and it sucked. But I think we're going to really benefit from it. We're going to have a bunch of really cool arenas that are going to be built and a bunch of expansions to the highway, maybe some expansion to I-80 going out to Park City will be super awesome. So I'm really looking forward to it. Now, it isn't a done deal. We're waiting for the Olympic Committee to actually come out and announce it. But when you got the mayor of Salt Lake City on KSLSports.com saying, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. We're just waiting on the official announcement from the commissioner.
And we're the preferred destination as of now, right?
Yeah. And we've actually got on record. Did you hear this? We actually heard that we would actually be willing to do 2030 if necessary.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're like, well, we're going to go either way.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome.
2030 would be even cooler.
Yeah. I don't know about you, man, but I was surprised because I was like a young buck back in the day when the Olympics were here.
Yeah, I was not very big.
And I regretted not doing more with the Olympics than I did. So I'm really looking forward to this because I definitely want to make sure and go ahead and throw a comment down below.
Make sure you guys stay subscribed because in 11 years when we're still doing the channel, we'll get you all kinds of good information on the Olympics.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know in the comments down below. What would you like us to cover? If it's the Olympic oval, if it's figure skating, whatever it is, we'd love to cover that for you guys because, obviously we're still going to be doing this in 11 years from now. So yeah, why not?
What are you trying to say, Darren?
Huh?
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say you're going to get rid of me for a better host. Someone with a little bit more credit.
I would like you to find a host that has better hair than you.
I was going to say you're going to find somebody who has better hair than me. Like that's what I was going to say. I literally was going to go the same route as that. And just say,
absolutely not.
You're going to find somebody with better hair.
It doesn't exist.
Oh, I'm sure it does. I'm sure there's somebody on YouTube that has better hair than me. Probably not in our genre though. I'm not going to. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, so let's go ahead and pivot over to. So again, folks, let us know in the comments down below. Are you guys excited for the Utah Jazz? Are you folks excited for the Olympics to come to Salt Lake City as we are? I think it'd be super cool to catch some snowboarding events and stuff like that.
Yep.
Go party with Shaun White. He's not probably going to be competing, but at least he'll be there.
He'll be like a 600 years at that point. But make sure you guys, if you like the content, smash the subscribe button, hit the like button. We appreciate it.
He's like 3 years younger than me.
Yeah, he'll be like 60 by that point.
That's really harsh. Saying Sean White's gonna be like 600. You realize he's younger than me, right?
Yeah, which means he's older than me.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Just saying, in 11 years, I'll be old as shit.
Okay, let me just quickly do a hair flip. Okay, anyway, let's go ahead and pivot on over to the.
He just hair flipped. For everybody that's listening on the podcast, he just flipped his hair.
That's right. Let's go ahead and pivot over to the Utah Jazz, shall we?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about. First of all, let's talk about the key piece, which would actually be Lauri Markkenan, man. Like, I know we touched on this a little bit last week, but since then, man, there's been a lot of chatter about Lauri Markkenan, man.
Dude, he's in pretty much every trade rumor that there possibly is. There's a bunch. I'll go into those in just a second, but Lauri is officially, and I'm air quoting for you on the podcast, on the market for the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into that.
He's no longer untouchable.
Right. Yeah, and we'll definitely throw a few of those up there for sure. Now, he is an all-star. He's an all-star level talent on a role player contract. Right now, this year, he's making $17 million a year. Next season, he's making $18 million a year.
Yeah.
Which is, like I mentioned, that's a role player type contract there. With the expansion of the playoffs and more teams thinking they believe they have a shot, and adding somebody who is literally almost 7 foot-ish, being a proficient 3-point shooter who's 7 foot tall, who can actually create his own shot, is insanely valuable right now.
Yep.
Insanely valuable. You mentioned it last week that he is one of the guys that is not like we wouldn't be able to replace this guy.
No.
So
not immediately. I mean, Lauri's played and started in 18 games this season so far. In those 18 games, he's averaging almost 39 minutes a game, and he's shooting 38.9% from three.
Yeah.
That's a crazy number, man, especially for a 7-footer that he can do it all. Like this is your poor man's Kevin Durant, right? I mean, he can dribble to the basket. He can score over top of you. He can shoot it in the mid range. He can shoot threes over top of you. Like
more durable than Kevin.
More durable, yeah. But I mean, he just literally got off injury. So let's take it easy on the durability. Okay.
Yeah, true. Very true.
But Lauri is a fantastic talent, right?
Yeah.
This could completely change the way the Utah Jazz look, though.
I know. I agree. But before we get into the trade packages,
okay,
let's talk about what the request. So it's been reported on several different places, The Athletic, KSL Sports, that they are listening on offers on Lauri. So we talked about this last week, and the only reason why I think the Jazz might potentially move it is he's just not on. He is right now. He's about to enter his prime. And the Jazz may not be in a position to where they compete when he's in his prime. At least I know you're a little bit more optimistic than I am about that, and we'll definitely get into that. But what the Utah Jazz are expecting to get back from him is basically a Dom-level haul, basically.
Yeah, Dom and Rudy.
Like a Spider-type haul. Yep. Not necessarily a Rudy-type haul. I'm thinking a Spider-type haul is probably what we're going to see. And it's been reported, like, we're talking 5 first-round picks is what I've heard. 5 first-round picks or 3 first-round picks with 2 NBA-ready talent.
Yep.
Is what I've been hearing.
Yep.
What do you think?
The Jazz are listening to offers, but I don't think they take anything less than that. Mm-hmm. Why would you? The fact is, like you said, the dude's about to enter his prime. You know what I mean? Like, he's about to get even better. And as long as you can continue to put talent around him, you're going to give yourself a chance to win. Right. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the Jazz are lacking talent now, but they're lacking cohesion in a lot of these situations. So I think as long as you can continue to put talent and grow cohesion, Lauri Markkenan is going to have a chance to grow and shine and be a fantastic player in the future for this Utah Jazz team.
100% agree. So now, have you heard any of these suggested trade packages for Lauri?
I have. I've got a few notes on some of the suggested trade packages. So the biggest one that I read that's probably most realistic, I would say this is kind of the level that Utah would have to be at. Mm-hmm. Sports Illustrated proposed this trade, and it's the Jazz to receive. So it's a trade between the Jazz and Oklahoma City. Keep in mind, Oklahoma City is the only team in the league that has more trade assets than the Jazz do. Right. Okay. So the Jazz to receive Cason Wallace, Ousmane Dieng, Davis Bertans, 2 2024 first-round picks, 1 2025 first-round pick, a 2027 first-round pick, and a 2029 first-round pick. And the reason that trade is so key is because if they pick up a 2024 first round pick, guess who one of those is from? The Utah Jazz.
That's one of our picks, right?
Yeah. So the Jazz are in a bad season, which means their trade, if they get their first round pick from Oklahoma City, it's probably going to be a top 10 pick, and it's not protected. So that's a huge Oklahoma City in that trade package proposed by Sports Illustrated would receive Lauri Markkenan and Talon Horton-Tucker. Okay. So that is 3, mid-level players and 5 first-round draft picks, which is huge. That is a that is a Donovan or Rudy style
it absolutely
haul for that type of player. Now, huge.
Okay, with that one said, give me a yay or nay, thumbs up, thumbs down on whether or not that is a Danny Ainge type pull the trigger.
That if Danny Ainge actually officially gets offered that, I think he takes it.
I agree.
If he can get 5 first rounders for Lauri Markkenan, who he traded in a package for 5 first round picks,
right? Which was
that makes Donovan Mitchell originally worth 10 first round picks,
which is insane.
You know what I mean? So
we're going to talk about a little bit about Donovan Mitchell in a minute, so we'll get to that. But that is insane, man.
Yeah,
I you can't say no to that, man.
No, if he gets offered 5 first, he's taking it. I guarantee.
Would OKC make that offer?
I mean, if you're OKC, you've got a plethora of picks. Why wouldn't you? I mean, Cason Wallace and Ousmane Dieng. I'm not super sure on these guys. I know who Davis Bertans is, though. Right. And he's a good 3-point shooting big man. He's been in the league a few years, played with the Spurs for a few years. So I know Bertans. But if you're going to get some mid-level talent and 5 first-round picks, 2 of them are going to convey in the next draft.
Yeah.
I don't see how Utah says no to that. I mean, yeah, it hurts your soul to see Lauri go, but I mean, that is quite a haul for a player that's a one-time all-star, like you said, about to enter his prime. I mean, and again, that turns the Donovan Mitchell trade into 10 first-round draft picks.
Yeah, and again, we'll get to Donovan in a minute, but I really think that's why would OKC want to do that right now? They're second seed in the West right now behind Minnesota,
and
they're
honestly,
in win now mode right now.
They're in win now, and Lauri helps that team a ton.
Insanely, yeah.
Could you imagine? I mean, because right now they got Chet Holmgren, who was the number 1 overall pick last year. Yeah, SGA. I mean, they're ridiculously talented, and to add one more just solid 3-point shooting big man, how do you guard that? I can't tell you.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
That's nuts. Yeah. I 100% agree. I think that's a do not pass go. You got to take that trade, man.
Yep,
you got to take that. You got anything else as far as trades that
you think the other one that I kind of saw that it was interesting to me was a draft between this is from Clutch Points. They suggested a Jazz and Sacramento trade. The Jazz received Davion Mitchell, who's a good player, good player. Harrison Barnes, solid. I've actually wanted the Jazz to pick up Harrison Barnes for a few years. He's just expensive, and he keeps getting these super big contracts. Colby Jones, and then a 26 first-round pick, a 28, and then a 2030 first-round pick.
Okay, so basically Harrison Barnes' contract would be so for those picks is what you're buying, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, that's them dumping the Harrison Barnes contract because Davion Mitchell's still on a rookie contract for sure.
I really like Harrison Barnes, but he's not worth the money that he's been getting lately. Ever since that Dallas,
he just continues to get it, and that would be sending Lauri and Chris Dunn to Sacramento.
Okay, yeah, I actually don't mind that. Lauri, I'd actually rather keep Chris Dunn over THT, so I prefer the other one.
Yeah, well, not to mention all those 5 draft picks would be bad.
That'd be awesome too. But yeah, I actually 100% agree with you, man. I think both those picks are things you got to pull the trigger on.
Yep.
I don't know if you could say no to that if you're Danny Ainge or so. Here's the second piece, though. Here's the piece to that I'd like to add is, does he want to go?
No, I don't think Lauri wants to leave Utah.
No,
I think he enjoys it here. I think he likes the family environment. I know the Jazz organization has taken great care of him. No, I mean, to answer that simply, I don't think he wants to leave, which is a very nice change because, traditionally Utah hasn't been a place a lot of players want to play. So to move Lauri kind of hurts my soul because I think he does enjoy it here. Mm-hmm. But from a business perspective and, just straight up being a Jazz fan, we've got to get in a position so that we can win some basketball games because we haven't been, and it's been rough to watch. I don't think Will Hardy's a problem. Again, I think it's a cohesion issue. I think we're having trouble getting some of these players to mesh and work together and actually get it into a position they can be successful in basketball games. Turning the ball over has killed us. We've been running some weird defenses that have been effective sometimes and not effective other times. It's been tough to watch, man. So we've got some work to do as an organization. And I mean, honestly, Danny Ainge is just the guy to do it.
Yeah.
So.
I said on a previous episode that he's the type of guy. This is the guy who traded away Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Paul Pierce, and
Kevin Garnett.
Yep. So this is a guy who's not afraid to trade anybody for if the price is right.
Your name don't matter. Yeah,
exactly. But when it comes to Lauri Markkenan, he did say in an interview when he was asked about it is, first of all, I really don't think it's a good idea to like ask players in the middle, like, you've been brought up in trade rumors. What do you think about that? I know you have to ask the question, but come on, guys. Like, I don't know. I think that should always be like an off the court, not in a post game type thing or a pre-game type.
I think it puts a lot of really awkward pressure on players.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like,
if you got an exclusive, like where you sit on a couch somewhere, like an off day,
that's
cool,
the time to ask. And the fact is they always answer the same way. Just part of the business.
Yeah,
that's what every one of them say. It's part of the business.
Yeah,
NBA is a business. I'm all good with it. Whatever happens, I love this organization. I want to stay here, but if I get traded somewhere, it's part of the business.
Yeah,
it's the answer every time. Like, if you're going to ask the question, just go ahead and write it down, because I can tell you.
I would like to quote what he said here with on an interview with The Athletic with Sam Amick. He said, like I said, I love being in Utah, and it's a compliment to what you've done in the past when teams have interest in you. We'll see. But yeah, I want to emphasize that I really believe in what we're building here with the Jazz. Go day by day, do your best. That's all you can do. He has mentioned in the past that he loves it here in Utah. Him and his wife want to raise his kids here. Honestly, you mentioned it before on a previous episode about what you just said there is how hard it is to replace what he brings to the table.
Yep.
A 7-foot big man who wants to spread the floor, who can spread the floor, he can shoot the three, create his own shot, and also he wants to be here. That's the biggest piece. It's really hard for Utah to bring in free agents that want to be here. And we have one. He's not really a free agent. We traded for him, but he's willing to stay here if we offer him a decent contract. So I agree with you.
I do think that the perception of Utah is changing, though. Like, honestly, because Donovan Mitchell was the same way when we traded him. Donovan would have stayed in Utah, I do believe. I don't think he was leaving.
I think he was. I think after the contract, I think he was going to say the right things. We'll talk about Donovan and Mitchell here in a minute because I'd really like to get into him. Because a lot of stuff has come up with him about him recently,
right?
But by the way, actually raised my like, dude, Donovan's the dude, man. I actually really appreciate.
I love Donovan Mitchell, man.
Have you heard some of his interviews that he's talked about with the Cavs lately?
I haven't.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna go into that, and you're gonna love it. But anyway, I honestly think that it's New York or bust for him. Once he became a free agent, he was going to New York. I think that's basically where it is. His dad's in the front office with the Mets. He's from that area.
Yeah,
I think that's where he's going. So I think the Jazz could have had him up until that. So we would have had him for a couple of years if the Jazz didn't decide to trade him. But yeah, honestly, I don't know. But I think that Lauri Markkenan is very much the opposite of that. He's the antithesis of that. He's very much like a Jeremy Clarkson that way. He wants to stay here. He wants to raise his kids here. He likes what we're doing here.
Yep.
I think Lauri is just in the same spot. I agree. I think the narrative is changing a little bit, or else JC wouldn't want to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
That does definitely shift the narrative from when what PK said back in the day. I don't know if you've heard this comment back in the day when it comes to what's his name, Hayward.
I don't think so.
It's like, if you can't keep a white kid who wants to stay at home and play video games all day in Salt Lake City, then Utah has some real problems.
Great point.
Fair point.
Great point.
Fair point. But I think that times have definitely changed over the last 7 years. So I really appreciate that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and pivot a little bit from that. I don't know. Before we pivot from that, give me your take there. Do you think the Jazz move Lauri Markkenan by the trade deadline?
I don't think that it's like their top priority, but I know they're listening to offers. And I think that if they can get a 5-pick, 3-player massive haul for Lauri, I think he's gone.
Really?
I sincerely do. I think Danny Ainge will pull the trigger.
That's quite a pivot from last week, man. He's like, no chance. No chance.
I mean, but the thing is like all the way up until this point, Lauri was untouchable.
It's true.
You know what I mean? All of a sudden it's announced he's not. And like,
honestly, I think even.
Can I go a little bit further to say, I don't think anybody will give that much up for Lauri.
Okay.
I sincerely don't.
Fair enough.
Lauri's a fantastic player. I don't think anybody will give up 5 first-round picks for him. And I don't think the Jazz are in a position that they feel like they need to budge from that. It's 5 picks, players to match salary, and off we go.
No, I agree. I 100% agree. I don't think, if you want my honest opinion, I don't think he is moved at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
I think he is worth 5 first-round draft picks or 3 first-round draft picks with a couple of NBA-ready talents that could be strong role players. I think he is that valuable. I, however, don't think that they're going to get that offer. I think they're going to get something around like 2 and 2.
Yep.
And I think, I
could see 2 to 3 first-round draft picks and some players, but I think the Jazz kind of dig their heels in and say it's 5 or no.
Right, because what happens at the trade deadline next year's offseason, coming up to the trade deadline next year, they're still going to get 3 first-round picks for him because he's only at $18 million.
Exactly.
So you're not losing too much by waiting a year.
Yeah.
So
not to mention, if he continues to show out this season and does shoot 40% from 3, he's made himself even more valuable on the trading market.
I don't know if it necessarily made more valuable because you have less time, but he is willing. He's the type of player who's willing to sign with the team that trades for him, I think.
I agree.
So I like, especially with OKC, I think he's willing to re-sign with them if they trade for him.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that the Jazz don't have to move on him because the value doesn't drop that much from this year to next year.
Right.
That's my key piece there for why I think the Jazz don't move him.
Yep.
But anyway, I don't know. All right. So let's go ahead and let's know in the folks. Sorry, before we do that, let us know in the comments down below, folks. Do you think Lauri Markkenan has moved at the trade deadline this year? Let us know what team you think, if you know what your package is going to be, and in your best NBA 2K trade
simulator. Yeah,
office.
Absolutely. And if you like the content, make sure you hit the subscribe button, leave us a like. We appreciate all your guys' engagement. Keep coming with it.
Absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the change in the starting lineup. Obviously, due to injuries, Collin Sexton has been in the starting rotation for the last 4 games for the Utah Jazz. What's been your take so far of how he's performed?
Dude, Collin has played absolutely fantastic in the starting rotation. He brings so much energy to the floor. It's just not something that can really be overlooked, right?
Mm-hmm.
He brings defensive energy. He brings offensive scoring. He's really versatile as far as he can score on all 3 levels. He shot the 3 ball really well.
Mm-hmm.
Collin has been fun to watch in the starting lineup. However, we both know this isn't going to continue.
No, I don't think it's going to continue, but I do think it gives him a position of bargaining, with not only this team, but if he does get moved to the deadline wherever he goes. Here's some of the pieces about the last 4 games that he's been. Here's some of the pieces about the last 4 games that he's been starting in. The Jazz are 3 for 4 in the when he's been in the starting lineup over the last 4 games.
Yep.
He's averages 27 points per game. He shoot over 50% from the field, and he's shooting around 38% from 3.
Yeah, he's been knocking it down.
That is insane.
Yeah.
And he's averaging less than 2 turnovers a game.
Yep.
From the starting rotation, which is really, really good for somebody who's basically just been saying, okay, you're a bench role player, come off the bench, 6-man type guy. Now you're our starting point guard.
He's been really, really effective. And none of the metrics that you mentioned were even defensive. And I feel like he brings so much defensive energy to the floor.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and it's contagious, right? Everyone's playing a little bit better defense because Collin's out there giving it his all, diving after loose balls, jumping into the stands to catch it out. Like Collin has been playing such good defense, man. And it's been a different team. It's been a completely different team. As we're recording, the Jazz lost tonight, and I'm excited to see how that one turned out. But yeah, he's just been playing great, man. And I wish there was a spot in the rotation that he fit in a little more clean. Unfortunately, with JC getting healthy, Keontae George getting healthy, I just don't see him taking minutes from either one of those future projects for the Jazz.
So the thing I think about when it comes to that is I do think that there's a likelihood of 2 players being moved out by the trade deadline with Collin Sexton staying, and that would be JC and THT.
Yeah.
I do feel like JC's best role, which, correct me if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments down below if you think I'm wrong on this one. I do think JC is best suited for a bench role at this point of his career. I do not see him as a starter. He has not performed well as a starter in the Jazz uniform. I think his best role is the role that he can perform the best in and be the most efficient is that 6-man role. I honestly say that you put Keontae George, Collin Sexton, and you have Lauri Markkenan at the 3. No, not Lauri Markkenan. Who am I thinking of? Lauri Markkenan at the 3, John Collins at the 4, and Kessler. I think that's run. I actually see a stat the other day that's one of their most potent lines where they have those 3 as a perimeter when you run that. So I think that there's still a shot that Collin Sexton could be a starter on this team or another team, because he's kind of proven it out over the last 4 games. I wouldn't rule it out, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I think Sexton brings a ton of value in that situation, and I think Clarkson is better against second units. He gets mismatched on defenders much easier that way, right? You're not playing against 6'4", 6'5" guys. You might get a little undersized guards that you have just a little better chance. Jordan Clarkson's fast and he's tricky, and these guys don't see that much of him. But when you're in a starting role, you're going to get an elite defensive player, which makes it really hard for Jordan Clarkson to really do what he wants to do. Not to mention you're getting 5 of the most athletic guys in the world playing against you in a starting lineup, right?
Yeah. And he hasn't been as efficient from the field either, which was really hurting his ability to kind of cut and slash to the basket.
I mean, just his little, dribble in, get in the paint, turn around, 8-foot jump shot used to be absolutely automatic. And now it is like a 50-50 ball.
Yeah.
That kills your scoring percentages. That kills your, even just effectiveness of driving, because defenders are willing to take a 50-50 chance on you making that shot to cover up the corner threes, right?
Right.
So it's just really hurting the Jazz all around because his efficiency is so low.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one. I definitely think that's a big piece for why the Jazz are underperforming this year. A lot of people say they aren't underperforming. This is what we should have expected, but you and I had much higher hopes for the Jazz.
Much higher hopes. Again, don't check that video out.
But I did think that JC was going to be more towards the norm of what we've seen of him over the last several years as a Jazz man, but we're definitely seeing a regress for there from sure.
Yeah, make sure you guys leave us a comment down below. Hit the like button if you like the content. Let us know what you think of Mr. Collin Sexton here in the starting lineup, and if he deserves to stay and why.
Absolutely. We'd love to hear from you on that. Let's go ahead and pivot over to Major League Baseball, shall we?
Absolutely.
All right. Let's go ahead and pause this. All right. So before we get into the main subject about Major League Baseball today, let's go ahead and do a little bit of update on the free agency, shall we?
Absolutely.
Okay. So first, let's go ahead and talk. I need to talk about the Royals, man.
Okay. What you got?
The Royals have been busy. Remember how we talked about last week how we coined that the Royals are going to win the World Series?
Absolutely. After they acquired Will Smith, the great.
Yes, they acquired Will Smith. For those who aren't in the know and haven't watched our previous videos, Will Smith has won. The relief pitcher, has won the last 3 World Series on 3 different teams, which I think is a first.
Gotta be.
Never happened before. But he's won with the Braves, with the Astros, and now with the Rangers. Each time he's signed with in the last 3 years has won a World Series. So he then has signed with the Kansas City Royals. And first of all, you and I both joked and said, the Royals are going to win the World Series now, right? But
yeah.
There might be more to this, man. There might be more to this.
Okay, I'm ready.
So they are loading up on pitchers. So since we've last talked, they've traded for Ryan Brandy, right-handed pitcher, Cesar Espinala, who's a right-handed pitcher. They signed Seth Lugo, which we talked about last week.
Yeah.
They also signed Chris Stratton and Michael Wacha, all starting pitching, and plus some bullpen arms. So they have uploaded at least 5 or 6 pitchers in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, and here Stratton has a career ERA of 4.43, which isn't great, but he did have a little bit better year last year. Wacha, however, has a career ERA of 3.96. Last year, he had a 3.22 ERA with 14 wins and 124 strikeouts.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so that's not bad at all. So
yeah.
Honestly, I don't know what's going on there. They also just signed Hunter Renfroe in free agency as well. So they are making some moves over there in Kansas City. So yeah, our little call that they may win the World Series. I'm not saying.
I'm just saying, but I'm not saying.
Yeah, I'm not saying look out for the Kansas City Royals, but I'm saying look out for the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah. And if you guys are Kansas City Royals, make sure you guys leave a comment below. Let us know what you think, how your team's doing.
Yeah, I think that as far as making ancillary behind the radar moves, they're doing a great job, man.
Yeah.
Seth Lugo had a great year last year, all things considered, even with the whole, stealing signs and everything that we talked about before. I just think it's, very interesting, the things they're doing. I'm quite impressed.
Yeah. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. But anyway, so let's go ahead and talk about, really the main subject I want to talk about today, and we'll wrap it up with another comment there about another media person who, for some reason, a lot of people hate this guy, and I don't really understand why, but now I understand why I don't like this guy. And we'll get to that in a minute. But as so let's go ahead and talk about this. So we talked about last week. I did a little rant there on how the baseball media royally messed up the whole Shohei Ohtani free agency thing, right?
Absolutely.
There was a couple that had to go out and make a public apology that they got things wrong, and people were tracking flights, and we were ruining people's lives here, all because they were just trying to be the first to
report where Shohei was signing.
The first to report where Shohei was signing.
And guess how Shohei did it?
Yeah, he announced it on his own Instagram.
His personal Instagram page.
While everybody was losing their minds.
Everyone's asleep, and he's like, I'm going to sign with the Dodgers.
Yeah. The Dodgers got a heads up about 10 minutes before that tweet went out, by the way.
I bet you it was already typed. I bet you it was literally typed, and he was waiting to be like, it's going to be the Dodgers. And they're like, okay, cool. Boom. Hit the send button.
Yeah, that's literally what happened. Edger Freeman said he knew about 10 minutes before the Instagram post went out. So, and we talked about that at length in our last episode about how it's ridiculous that the sports media had to go into that great lengths. You just let the guy be, let him do his thing the way he wants to do it.
He's just a human being, man. He's just trying to play baseball.
Yeah, the pressure to be the first, is making it just to the point where it's just not even worth it.
Yeah.
And honestly, the media has not learned their lesson. This continues to happen. Now, it was reported by multiple sources that Yamamoto has had deals in excess of $300 million offered to him. Primarily one from the Boston Red Sox was the one that was mentioned specifically, but there was multiple teams that have been reported having $300 million offers to Yamamoto. So here's the thing. About 2 days ago, Jeff Passan tweeted out, multiple reports have been suggested that teams have already offered Yamamoto deals in excess of $300 million. Those reports, sources said, are inaccurate, he reported. Multiple high-ranking officials are trying to sign Yamamoto, told ESPN that teams were asking a preliminary bid and they would start the process to ensure they were serious, but not necessarily in the neighborhood of where the deals are likely to land. Since then, those officials say his agent, Joe Wolf, has not solicited new rounds of bids. So, two things I could take from that is that all these reports of $300 million coming from multiple teams, specifically talking about the Red Sox, none of that happened.
Right. None of that actually happened.
People were just in a rush to be the first to report these about Yamamoto. Okay, Ohtani signed. Now we got to talk about the next thing, which is Yamamoto. We got to be the first.
He's the next big agent.
Exactly.
Big time free agent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the second thing I've learned from this is unless it comes from a tweet or an X, whatever they're calling a tweet on X nowadays.
I think it's still a tweet on X.
Is it still a tweet on X?
I think so.
Unless it comes from Jeff Passan or in Ohtani's case, the person themselves.
Right.
You shouldn't trust it.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your take on all this craziness?
So I saw a little different headline on this. I saw that the Dodgers were considering a $250 million plus deal to Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
That's actually a little bit, that's after all this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is before.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So this was just saying the 300 million's coming out.
Yeah, this offer is legit. This is what the Dodgers have reported that they say that they have offered to Yamamoto. Yamamoto has not put out he wants silence on what people are offering.
Gotcha.
So whatever this report is, this isn't the same thing.
Okay, I gotcha.
But so on this craziness here of people just running with bad sources, just trying to be first. What's your take on all this? Well, first with Ohtani, now with Yamamoto. What do you think?
I mean, it's just continuing to kill actual sports writers' legitimacy. It was just a couple of weeks ago that the one lady on Fox News said she'd made up sideline reports so that she had something to say when her spot came on.
No kidding.
You didn't see that?
No, I didn't.
Oh man, this is all over. Yeah, it's an NFL reporter. I'm not going to say her name. I'll see if I can. If we do it, we'll see if we can put it somewhere in here. But
you're editing that video.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. So let's just cut that. But anyways, yeah, there was somebody. I mean, but it's just going to show you that all of these writers, all of these columnists, all of these reporters, they're doing so much to just try to stay relevant because. But it's the problem with what social media is today, and it's a completely different conversation than this. But the fact is everybody has information the second it comes out in your hand, and so it's like the race is more intense than ever to get information out, even if it's not the correct information. It leads to a whole other conversation. Okay. But
yeah, I agree.
But the fact is sports are not immune to that issue.
Agreed.
Right? Like people are trying to get information out as fast as possible so that they can, because everything is clickbait these days.
Oh yeah.
All you're trying to do is create an article or a sub project that somebody will click on. You get the revenue from it. You see the ads, and in comes the revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is.
Right?
Yeah.
It is 100%. What it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to continue. It's not going to stop. These people are going to continue to make fake headlines. These are going to continue to misreport things that they don't, necessarily know is true, but they do feel will cause enough of a headline that they can get it into, because that number is not, the $300 million number is not ridiculous, right?
No,
it's actually believable.
Yeah.
And obviously, like I just mentioned, 250 million is a legitimate offer. So they're not that far out of it.
Right.
So it's a credible offer, but the fact is they lied.
Yeah. The fact is they mentioned it.
Yeah.
And whatever sources they're saying, maybe they're lying about it to try and maintain their relevancy as a insider or as an, somebody who can leak information. But when Jeff Passan puts out a tweet saying they're all false, like that's the other thing is that Shohei Ohtani, he reported on his own Instagram that he signed with the Dodgers. And I literally checked Twitter to see if Jeff Passan confirmed.
Right.
Like, the source, Shohei Ohtani, said, I'm signing with the Dodgers. I'm like, nope, I got to see it from Jeff Passan. Hang on, let me go to Twitter real quick. Yep, there he is. He's said on his Instagram he's retired. Okay, I now believe it, right? There's that level of credibility. Like, you didn't hear a word from Jeff Passan about Shohei Ohtani where he's going to sign until he actually signed. He said, here's my idea. I don't have any sources collaborating this, but this is what I think is going to happen. It's between these two teams. He never jumped the gun. He never does. Some people will say Adrian Wojnarowski is that way on the NBA.
Yep.
There's a whole thing we can go into that with Clutch Sports and like the CCAA or whatever that one and Donovan Mitchell's part of.
Yeah.
We can definitely get into all that and how reporters are represented by the same companies, the same agencies as some of these players. And so they're trying to
conveniently leak things.
And
certain parts of what the player's requesting, or it's rumored that they're requesting this.
Right.
To get players in certain areas of pay and come on.
And how a player will have to leak something to an agent because that agent is represented by the same agency as the player.
Yep.
It's all a mess, man. That's why you never get Woj bombs on LeBron, because LeBron's camp can't stand Woj.
Well, why would they? Why would they? They've got, what's his name? Paul.
I don't know the guy.
I can picture his face. He's married to Adele.
Really?
Yeah. LeBron James' agent's married to Adele.
That is so weird. That is so random.
Clutch Sports. What's his name?
I'm just going to type in who's married to Adele.
Oh, that'll work. That'll do it.
Rich Paul.
That's who it is.
Wow.
That's LeBron James' agent. Married to Adele.
That's LeBron James' agent. More like, I'm sorry, man. Did you catch what happened?
Never mind, I'll find someone like you.
Getting a little loose here in the last episode of the year, folks. Did you hear the comment that slipped at the end of when the Lakers won the in-season tournament?
I didn't. And
he went to hand him the trophy. He's like, sorry, this doesn't come with an expansion franchise. And LeBron laughed. Like, no one's paying attention here, but this is what he's doing. Like, he's timed his whole career to this point.
Right.
He has made the money he wants. And he's gone on record saying he wants to own an NBA team. He wants to own the NBA expansion team that's going to be coming to Vegas. And he's going to be able to own the team and have both of his sons playing on that team.
I did not know that, but that does make a lot of sense because LeBron is very good at timing whatever it is he'd like.
Yeah.
And we both know he's got one more year left because he wants to play with Bronny.
Yep. He's got one more year left.
Is Bronny going to have enough in the tank at USC, or does he get drafted just because he's LeBron James' boy?
I think there's going to be a little bit of Nepo baby in that for sure. But I do think he has enough talent, honestly, to make it as an NBA player. NBA starter, maybe not, but at least a decent role player for sure. I think he's got it there.
Right.
I'd be more worried about whether or not, obviously he went through all the checks for health and everything about the whole cardiac arrhythmia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so I'm glad that he's back and playing and doing well there. But yeah, there's just so much on that subject. We can go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's deep. It's deep. Leave us a comment down below. Hit the like button if you like the content. Let us know what you think. regarding that whole scenario we just discussed.
Yeah, we'd love to do a deeper dive on this.
Yeah.
As far as more of kind of like an investigative reportive type thing when it comes to agencies and the players and the teams and how that's all rooted out. And love to get into all that. So let us know if you guys want to see that in the comments down below.
Yep.
The last thing I want to talk a little bit about is before we get out of here is Ben Verlander. So Ben Verlander, not a lot of people don't know who this guy is. He is I'm going to not say what everybody says after they say his name because I get tired of hearing this. And I've seen a lot of comments on it. And I believe a man should get to stand on his own merit. So I'm not going to say what everybody else says after they say his name, Ben Verlander, the brother of, I'm not going to go there. I think we're going to let this guy stand on his own.
Okay. So, I like it. And I don't know who he is.
Okay. We'll talk about it after the show.
No, I know his brother's a pitcher. So.
Okay. I cannot stand his brother. Okay.
It's okay. We're not going to talk about it.
We're not going to talk about that.
We're not going to talk about it.
We're not going to talk about that. But yeah, I do not like that guy. Anyway, so anyway, he has he's big into Shohei Ohtani, right?
Yeah.
Big
Who
fan.
isn't? Who isn't? You're a big Shohei Ohtani fan now that he's wearing the blue.
Yeah, now he's wearing the Dodger blue. Absolutely. And I honestly was a fan beforehand, man. I mean, we're living in a great time to be
How could you not be, dude?
I know.
The dude is a legend. He is a living legend.
He's a massive human being. Have you seen him at his induction where they introduced him to Dodgers?
I haven't.
Put on the jersey and everything.
Because he's like 6'4", isn't he?
The guy is massive, dude. Like,
is he that big?
He's broad, dude. Like, look at, obviously you don't watch my videos that I edit and post for our channel, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
I do all the time. I watch every one of them.
You'll see there. If you type up the Shohei Ohtani video, it's literally the B-roll I put in the beginning of the video. But that's okay. But anyway, so Ben Verlander, everybody doesn't really have anything wrong to say about this guy. He's not said anything wrong. He's not said anything like indecent or racist or anything like that. But basically, that's just not a lot of people like him because of his baseball takes, which is fine. If that's something that you want to not like him for whatever reason, people just don't like him. And I don't really know much about him. I know he has a podcast called Flippin' Bats, and he's on Fox Sports. He has a TV show. And this guy was actually in college. He did sign and was in the minors, but just never made it to the major leagues. And he started doing what he's doing. He's doing a podcast and he's on the field. And I don't really know. I never really had interest in this guy. But until now, I now realize I don't like this guy.
Really?
Yes. I do not like Ben Verlander. Would you like to know why?
I would like to know why. Because I don't think he's done anything to you personally.
No, he has not. But after I say this, you probably won't like Ben Verlander either.
Most likely because I don't like Justin Verlander. So,
but we're not talking about him.
We're not talking about him though.
Yeah, we're not talking about him.
Yeah.
So Ben Verlander went on he's got a big he's got a big one for Shohei Ohtani, right? And he said on his show that this Shohei Ohtani is the biggest free agent signing in the Dodgers history. Now, and he paused for a minute. And he's like, I feel comfortable saying that. So he took a minute and he thought about it. And then he said it again.
And that was where he f***ed up.
That is where he messed up for sure. Now, if he said that about, maybe not the Braves, because the Braves have to do one big free agent signing, I think would still be more important than this one.
Even if he added in the end, in recent memory.
Or, with all due respect
in 50 years.
In all due respect to so-and-so, which we'll bring up. But literally almost every other franchise, if he would have said that, it would have been okay.
Yeah.
But guess who he conveniently forgot to mention in this one?
I'm going to go with, Jackie Robinson?
Yes. You're telling me the guy who literally broke the color barrier in all of professional sports, modern professional sports, not more important than Shohei Ohtani?
Well, it just tells you how uninformed Ben Verlander is.
Yeah, dude, I think it's a little worse than that. I actually think it's a little worse than that. I think he knew exactly what he was saying.
You think it's racism?
No, I think he was trying to draw exactly what we're doing here.
Oh, he's a genius then.
Yeah, he knew people were going to freak out about it. He knew people were going to say things, and he knew he was going to get backlash for it. And he doesn't care. He's going to stand on his opinion. He's going to be like, yeah. But
he's like, do you know who my brother is?
Dude, I can't stand his brother, but he did have one comment that made me laugh so hard. So they were arguing at the plate. He's like, no, I didn't do that. No, I didn't do that. And the manager for the Red Sox was arguing. And the manager, his name is Alex Cora for the Red Sox. And Alex Cora is walking back to the dugout. He's like, no, I didn't do that. Go sit down. He's like, F you, Alex. He's walking back to the mound. One time, Justin Verlander said something that I'm like, dude, awesome. But yeah. Anyway, but Ben Verlander, I honestly think I now know why no one likes the guy. Why would you go out of your way to simply say something like that just to kind of get clicks and get headlines? Why would you say
goes
that?
Back to our conversation 2 minutes ago.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
What the internet is, man.
Yeah, why would you any other team, dude? Any other team, you could say that probably, except for the Dodgers. I mean, I could honestly say I could say he's more important than Sandy Koufax, more important than Clayton Kershaw, more important than Mookie Betts, more important than Freddie Freeman. You know, he's easily the most important free agent that the Dodgers have signed, other than Jackie Robinson. Like, the guy's number is literally retired across all of baseball.
Yeah, like nobody in MLB can wear 4-2.
Yeah. It's literally, that's it. Unless it's on his birthday, then everybody wears it, which is Jackie Robinson Day every year, which makes it very confusing to watch a baseball game on that day.
Everybody's 42.
Like, it's really confusing, especially if we're watching like a Yankees or a Red Sox game where they don't have the names on the back. I'm like, well, who the hell is this guy? I'm just like, gosh.
I don't know this fool.
I was like, oh, dude, everybody's wearing the same number.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know. What's your take on that?
I mean, again, the dude's clickbait. I think you absolutely nailed it. Yeah. This guy made a headline, thought about it, and realized this is going to explode. Maybe not now, maybe not next week. Mm-hmm. But I mean, think about the comments about the guy making, the NBA or, a high school basketball team to beat a WNBA champion. Oh, that video took like a year to develop. And yeah. I think Ben Verlander was very much aware, made a comment knowing it may not explode today, may not explode tomorrow. Give it some time. Yeah. Someone's going to hear this. Someone's going to be a diehard Dodgers fan and know, and then all of a sudden it's going to explode because all it takes is one email to one person to retweet it. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, Ben Verlander's the news. And guess what? The DNA Sports Recap is talking about him. And that's when you really made it.
That's when you really hit it big, folks, when we're talking about you.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, Ben Verlander, never really saw your show, never really cared about you. Didn't really think anything bad about you until now. Now I'm just kind of like, okay, that's great. Good job, man. You used Jackie Robinson's name as a way to get clicks and headlines, which is just kind of disgusting. So not happy about that. You got anything else on baseball?
That's what I got, buddy.
All right. Well, folks, I believe that is it for us here on the DNA Sports Recap. If you enjoyed this content, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you never miss any of our content. We'd really love to hear back from you in the comments section.
Yeah, but if you guys are watching on YouTube, just remember this is available as a podcast. It's available on all streams that you can get your podcast on. Go ahead and give it a listen. Make sure you hit that like, leave us a review. We appreciate all your engagement.
All right, folks. With all that said, my name is Darren. That is AJ, and this has been the DNA Sports Recap.
Till next time.